Hi everyone, welcome back to Statutes and Stories. Today we are going to talk about something that confuses a lot of people, the difference between an agreement and a contract. Let's break it down so that it's easy to understand. What is agreement? An agreement is like an understanding or a promise between two or more people. It's something you make when you and someone else agree to do something. But here's the thing, not all agreements are legally binding. It's more of a casual, informal thing. For example, if you say, I will meet you at 5 pm, that's an agreement. But if one of you doesn't show up, there is no court case happening over there. Coming to contract. Contract is a type of agreement. I can say it as a special type of agreement, but it's more formal and legally enforceable. This means that if someone breaks their promise, you can actually take them to court. A contract usually has some important elements: offer, acceptance, consideration, that is something of value, and an intention to create a legal obligation. Think of signing a lease for an apartment. That's a contract. If the landlord or tenant doesn't hold up their end, you can take legal action. So, how should a person decide whether to go with an agreement or a contract? So, now we know the difference between an agreement and a contract. So, how does a regular person will decide whether they need one or the other? Should you always get everything in writing? Okay, let's find it out. When to use an agreement? If the situation is casual and the trust level is high, you can probably get away with just a simple agreement. For example, you and a friend of yours may have a verbal agreement to swap items or help each other out. There is no legal requirement, and you are confident both sides will follow through. Coming to the usage of contract. If you're dealing with something very important like buying a house, renting an apartment, or starting a business deal, then you should go for a contract. A contract protects both sides and ensure everyone knows their right and obligations. When money, property, or long term commitments are involved, contracts are very essential. Some question to ourselves before we end up with whether a contract or agreement is required for the moment, then we have to think it like, is this something I can trust the other party to do, or is a party or property or any money involved? Could this deal cause a serious problem if something goes wrong? If the answer is yes to any of this, then you should definitely consider signing a contract rather than an agreement. So, to tell you an example, I think okay, if you're renting a car from a friend for a weekend, an agreement might be enough. But if you're entering into a partnership or hiring someone for a job, you will want a contract to make sure everyone's expectations are very clear. Alright, whether you're finalizing a simple agreement or a formal contract, there are few important things you need to remember to avoid any issues down the road. First one is clarity. Always make sure that the terms are clear and understandable. Whether it is a casual agreement or a formal contract, there should not be no confusion. Simplicity of the contract or agreement is very much required. Written over verbal. While verbal agreements can work for simple deals, putting things in writing is always safer. If you don't write it down, it's easy for misunderstanding to happen later. Consideration. For a contract to be valid, there has to be something of value exchange, and this is called consideration. This doesn't always mean money, it could be anything of value like services, promises, or goods. Capacity. Both parties must be mentally capable of understanding the agreement. Consent means both the parties should enter a contract or an agreement voluntarily. Nobody should be forced upon. If someone is an underage, that is a minor, or not in their right mind, or is having some unsoundness mind, then their consent might not be stand valid. There's a final review or review before signing. It is very, very important. One should not sign anything unless one understands it completely. Even if it is just an agreement, take the time to go over it. If it is a contract, consider taking a legal advice if the terms are complex. But to summarize everything which we have discussed so far, for an agreement, make sure it is completely clear, simple, and based on mutual understanding. For a contract, make sure both parties have agreed to the terms in writing and they fully understand their rights and obligations. Agreements are really great for casual, everyday promises, while contract should be used when there is a serious commitment involved. And remember, whether it is a simple agreement or a formal contract, make sure everything is clear and you are both on the same page before you move ahead. If you like the presentation, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more legal topics to be discussed in the future. See you next time.